Hello there, and welcome to our latest live stream. I'm Kate, and it's great to have you here with us. Today we are celebrating Halloween, and I have my 12-year-old son here at school holidays, and he's taunting me from the sidelines, which is fantastic. But I'm going to get him back later when I'm going to paint him as the Joker. Now, today I'm joined by our lovely team, and I'm just going to bring them up on stage now. Let's see, here and here. And we'll say hello to Lorna and Ratty.
Hello.
Hi.
Excellent. So microphones are working. That's brilliant. So it's really great to have you here today, and we are looking forward to bringing you some fun face paint designs. This is our peak season as face painters, and we start to get to do some different designs than we might do normally. But Halloween doesn't have to be all scary designs. It can be fun and cute too. So that's what we want to show you today. Let's have a look here. Oops, wrong one. So if you are watching live, I'd love you to pop something in the comments to say where you're from and say hello. We've got a few guests here already today, and hopefully some more will join us throughout the thing. Maybe you're watching in the replay. That's fantastic too. So you're welcome to ask questions, and we will make time to answer those at the end of the session. But so feel welcome to ask questions, pop them in the comments, let us know where you're from, and we're looking forward to meeting you virtually. So here's our team. A couple couldn't make it today. It is school holidays in some parts, so some people are working. But there's Lorna. Lorna's from Adelaide, and so is Ratty. Both ladies are from Adelaide, and actually Ratty has a new YouTube channel. That link down there is not only her Instagram, but her YouTube channel as well, so you can go check that out. Lorna, you can find her on Instagram, and Lorna is a very accomplished body painter and multidisciplinary artist, and Lorna does some fantastic, look, just go check out her Instagram. It's fabulous. And me, well, I've been face painting since the boy I'm about to bring on stage, since he was 3 months old, and he's 12 and a half now, so almost 13. So I've been doing it for a while, and it just started as a weekend gig, and it kind of took over. And I was on maternity leave at the time, was a journalist, and I ended up falling in love with face painting and then turning it into pretty much a very much full-time career. So Face Paint Club, Face Paint Shop Australia is my main business. The Face Paint Club is our new sideline, and well, it's, the main thing really. It's a community for all face painters, and we've got over 1,200 members in there at the moment. It's a learning community with lots of fun stuff inside. Today I thought what I would paint for you a little later on is the Joker, because this is something that we did at Halloween a few years ago, and my kids, when they let me paint them, it's only really Halloween now, but so I thought I'd do the Joker. But before we get into that, a reminder to ask questions in the comments. I can see lots of questions already. Hang on a second, I'm just doing lots of things live here. All right, let's see who we've got. We have got Lemonade Labrador. Hello, nice to meet you. Herva, and she says hello. We've got another one from Sydney, Consuela. Let's see. We've got someone from Penrith. Hello. 2 people watching, daughter and I, and some change to see the recording. Do you mean, Consuela, do you mean that replay? We do have a replay available. Exactly the same link as this one will be available later. And we have Soledad, and she is from Chile and living in Sydney. Hello, everybody. Lovely to have you here with us. Don't forget, if you've got any questions, pop them in the comments, and we will get to them a little later on. Okay, so what I might do now is see who wants to paint first. Let me bring this up here. Lorna or Ratty? Who wants to be up first today? All right. Do I have to, oh, okay, Lorna.
I don't mind.
I think I was first last time though, but okay.
All right. So Lorna is, Lorna works with us at Face Paint Shop Australia and Face Paint Club. And if you've been in any of the communities, you will have seen her in there, and makes some fabulous videos too. I'm going to bring Lorna up to full. Hang on. I'm going to put this one on stage. There we go. I'm going to
there's lots of reflection
take myself, and let me see. I need to make that one. I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out. Main stage. There we go. Hey.
Can you see that okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay. The reflection's not bad. might.
No, it's okay.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yes. Awesome. Okay, so this is the design. Do I go ahead now, Kate?
You can go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes. All right.
Yep.
So this is the design I'm painting today. This design, I'm going to show you how to paint the bat. The bat can be painted on the forehead, or I'll show you how to paint it on the arm. Yeah, so there's some background color, a moon, and some spider webs. It's very achievable, very quick, cute, Halloween, but not scary. Yeah, so good for kids that don't want, dripping blood and all that.
Yeah, not everyone wants a scary Halloween design.
And not all parents want their children to have that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what I'll do is I'll show you how to paint that on my arm, and then you can use that as you will on the face or the arm. So what I might do, I've used on this particular one, I've used the purple from the Elemental palette, but I might dip into the new palette. I might use, what's the name of this one, Kate?
This is the Pop palette, and that's Poppity, I think.
Poppity.
Yes, the new palette we just released this last week.
Poppity. All right, so what I might do is load my brush, and I'm using can you see that?
5/8
angle brush. I like angle brushes as opposed to flat brushes, but it's personal preference. And then load up with the dark purple on the outside. Like so. And then on my arm, which is going to be awkward, do the ears first. I do the ears first because there's always overflow, I guess, and you can disguise that when you do the circle for the head. Do you see? Ooh.
I can see it. I'm going to pop some music on so you know we're still here.
Yeah. Have Halloween music.
It's called Daydreaming.
So then I'm just filling in the inside of the bat head using the lighter color on my brush. And that'll be the head. And then from there, it's just a V. And you can make the wings as small as you need or as long as you need, because sometimes the arm or the forehead is not very big. So you just make it small and chubby, which is cute. So like that. And then you just need to do the underside of the wing, which is just sort of a wave sort of shape. 1, 2, 3. And then again, fill in the middle. Like that.
I love it. So quick, so quick.
Yeah, very quick. And then to do the eyes, I like a gradient on the eyes. So what I do is I use a finger dauber and just spritz that, so that, and just run my finger over it to make it sure it's the right dampness. You want it to be damp, not dripping. And then I might use, I might dip it back into my Elemental palette just because I like this one for the eyes. I want to pick up mostly yellow, but some of the orange. If you run it over, you'll get transition of both. And then I want the orange to be on the underside and just pounce it down. And you'll get a gradient.
Tricky.
And then from there, it's just a matter of outlining what you've done. So I'll get my black, and I'm using a very worn number 3. It was a number 3 before that's where I hold the brush all the time, so the number disappears.
Well, that's a good tip. That's where you hold the brush, right?
Well, it is personal preference. Some like it down at the ferrule and some like it. It is personal preference, but that tends to be where I hold it. So from there, it's just outlining. I start with the ears, flick it down. I don't know whether you saw that. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is a quick design. So it's a balance between speed and making it look effective, I guess. And then using your pinky to anchor. And then from there, I just flick down to the points of the bat wing, like that. And then outline the eyes. You can do the eyes whatever color you like. And then do that. These little fangs. And then I like, and then I color this in. And then you need to let the black of the eyes dry before you put the white highlights in. So then I load up my white and I'll add highlights and fill in the teeth before I go back to the eye. Just randomly wherever. It should reasonably be dry. I'd usually leave it for a few more seconds, but.
Yeah, it's always annoying when you just pop that white on and you go, oh no, it's not dry.
Yeah, it's turned grey. Yeah. You want the white to be a crisp white. You want it to be as white as you possibly can. So if you can leave it for a few more seconds and add a few more details elsewhere, it's a good idea to do so. And then I tend to like outlining everything. It's a, I don't know why. It's a habit. It's hard to break. Again, personal preference. And if it's on the face, on the forehead, I might not bother. Like that. And you can add. I'm getting fingerprints. So to do spider webs, I just do a couple of teardrops towards where I want it to go. And then I'll join them up. And then you can add glitter where you'd like. I'm using the Gleam. What color is this? Oh, I just spilled it. I'm not sure what color this is. It's blue. I'm sure it has a fancy name. Now you can see on my arm here, there was too much water in my white paint, so it's run a little bit, but that's okay. And we're done.
That is really cute. That is really cute. Let me bring you back up here. There we are. Oh, let me see. Can I make that bigger? Oh, look at that. Just moving stuff around. Very cute, Lorna. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. At the end, would you mind taking a photo of that so we can post it? Oh, you've already got that photo as well. Yeah, brilliant. That was fantastic. Alrighty. Now, thank you. I'm going to bring on our friend Ratty, and let's see, I'll take that one off. There's lots of buttons here to be pushing. And Lorna will stay around, but we'll just remove her. There we go. All right, Ratty's up, and Ratty, have you got some design?
Yes.
I know you've got some designs ready. You showed me.
Yeah. So I would like to try to paint this one, but because if I paint it on the practice board, it will take a little longer. So I will explain a bit. So this is basically the where is it? The skull. Either you can, oops, make it in the middle, or under on the cheekbone here, or on the side. But you can also turn it on the arm, or
Yes.
so. What I would do now, I'll do it on the arm, and then for the background, because I love watercolor, messy, flat here, flat there, and either you can use watercolor style or you can use sponge and add some background with probably blue color or this kind of split cake with the sponge and sponge it around, and that'd be great as well. So I want to get ready now for. Just give me a second. I would like to turn my camera.
Well, while Ratty's getting ready, we'll just pop this up here and give you guys a preview of what's inside our new Learning Community Face Paint Club. So that video will just run, and Ratty's just fixing up her camera, getting ready. So this is a little look inside our online learning community, and you can see we've got lots of stuff happening. So we've got our crash course for beginners. Now that's fully enclosed now within this new Face Paint Club, and we're about to launch our 90-day Pro Accelerator program, and I'm really excited about that. But I think Ratty's ready, so let me just bring her back on. Let's see here. Oh no, this one, I think. Hang on. Let's see.
Okay.
Oh, that's Lorna. All right, let me see. Okay, fantastic. All right, so Ratty has improvised with her above, like her, what do you call it, the phone mount. So she's created very ingeniously this overhead phone mount using the base of a chair and a coat hanger, which I think is amazing. I don't know if you're able to zoom in a bit, Ratty. It's a bit far out. But
hang on, let me.
It's okay.
Okay. I don't know.
Can you just with your
Yep.
you can't, that's fine. You may be able to just let's see.
Actually,
just with your fingers, I don't know if you can see me, just sort of do that little thing on the we are live, everybody, so great to have you here. And yeah, that's better, that's fantastic. And so
I'm using front camera.
We just run with it. So and I do want to thank our instructors for joining me here and being brave enough to come on live. It was really fantastic to have them here. So I think we're all good to go. Ready? I'll just move myself from the screen and make you, there we go, nice and big.
So okay, let's start with for the arm painting. So I'm sorry, I'm using front camera, so I can't really see it. I'm using the creative palette. I can't see myself, but yeah. So I'm using the filbert brush for the splat. Usually Halloween color. Probably I'll go with the blue. So basically, load with blue, make it a little bit more wet than usual, and you just let it roll. Don't drag them. Just let it roll, and then I clean the brush again and use the darker one, darker blue, to make it more interesting color. And going down there, and again, can you see it all right? There you go.
Yes, we can. Sorry, yes. Fantastic.
Okay. And then I clean my filbert brush, still using filbert brush, and really clean, and then still wet. I smudge it around like that. There you go. And while it's still wet, add some glitter using tag glitter. And then basically for the background, but you can also use any of this split cake with the sponge, and then just make it around. If it's too hard, that's the other option. And for the skull, I use white, and I'm using lots of filbert brush. Load it with white, and here's the skull. Beautiful, like almost like a half circle, and a bit more chubby here for the cheekbone. Another side as well. And then go down a little bit for the teeth. And while still wet, add some glitter. What's look like. And I like without clean the brush, I like to add a bit of light blue. Just adding some color and just go around and just make it a bit more colorful. Because that's really like, I like the watercolor style because it's, you know, you can be as messy as you want. So
yeah, I love that too. I love it that, you know, like it's really hard to be super neat and just to relax a bit and let it yeah.
So next, I'm using angle brush, 5/8 angle brush, and I'm using this palette, elemental palette. I'm going to try this one because I'm gonna make the hair, make it look more cool rather than scary. Like that, the longer one, the darker one. So do the hair. And make it.
So we're going for a bit of a punky look, if I remember. A bit of a punk skull.
Yep.
Punk style, yep.
Punk, yep, there you go. And that's again, you know, with the watercolor, even just make it messy like that. It is totally fine. And while waiting is dry, I'm going back to my filbert brush again. Just adding black. That's gonna be for the eye. And I don't make it too wet for the brush, otherwise it will smudge. Can you see all right?
Yes, yes. Great.
Yep, good, good. Awesome. So I clean the filbert brush again, and I use the light blue. And not too wet, not too wet. So just try to blend it a little bit. Blend it a little bit.
Yep.
There you go. And next, for the outline, I'm using round 3 to make a crisp line. Let's start with the fancy hair. Sorry, can you see all right? Please let me know if...
Oh, good. It's in shot. It's in shot.
Okay. So for this bit, you just play a bit. With watercolor, you add a bit of, you know, kind of coolness. Like let your hand loose and don't worry about what's, if it's not looking too neat. An outline for the eye and a bit of
Cool.
one eye, and do the other one. Bit of thin line here. There you go. And for the nose, just like a little of upside down heart shape. And then go, bit of the details, and just flick, 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 flick. And if you want to make it a little mess, again, it's all okay.
Oh, cool.
And I'm gonna add a little crack on the skull. just using the same brush, round brush number 3. That's basically for the arm. And yes, a little bit more detail. I'm adding white using the same brush number 3, round brush number 3. And you know, a little mess here, a little mess there. It's okay. And there you go.
Really cute. It's scary but cute. Like it's not, you know, it's a fun, like it's a riffing on a traditional skull design, and just color. And yeah, I love it. And you can do it with different colors as well. Yeah, that's really cool.
So yeah, that's basically my messy watercolor. Fun, messy but fun.
I love it. So you can, as you're saying, you can do that on the arm, or you can do that. Bring you back in here, or you could do that on the forehead. And I just, so that was great, Ratty. Thank you very much.
No problem.
And it's always great. And I just want to give a quick shout out too, because Ratty I just want to congratulate Ratty. She is in line to become an Australian citizen in a couple of weeks. She's got a ceremony coming up. We're very excited. And we're lucky to have her here. She's a fabulous, fabulous person. And
thank you.
We love her in the community. So it's fantastic. Now, I'm here with my son, Levi. He is 12 and a half. It's school holidays. He's kindly agreed to model for us today. And so, we're going to give it a go. We're going to give the Joker a go. Now, as your kids get older, you'll find that they don't tend to let you paint them very often. But a little bribery, a little payment goes a long way. And so Levi is going to sit for us, and we're going to do a paint. So I'm just going to get the camera ready. I've got a second camera, so we'll see how that goes. While we're doing that, I'm just going to pop this screen up and remind you that if you have any questions, you can ask. Please do. Let me see now. If I add that to the stage, and I remove from the stage. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that without turning my mic off. Maybe I'll do. There we go. All right. Oh, it's not the best resolution, but hopefully that comes in shortly. And it's also got a delay. Okay. All right. So let's give it a go. Here's Levi, and we're going to paint the Joker. And let me know if you can't hear me or whatever. So what I'm going to start with is laying down the base, and I'm going to use a white face paint and a sponge. And I'm just going to wet the sponge. And I've got, what you can't see here is I've got a microfiber towel down the bottom. And what I do is if it gets too wet or whatever, I'm constantly dabbing my brush or my sponges on that sponge. So I'm just going to load the sponge. And the Joker is a really cool one, I reckon, for Halloween, because it's like, it can be a bit rough, and it doesn't have to be perfect, and doesn't have to be symmetrical. So you can really sort of relax with this one and have a good paint. So I've loaded up my sponge. I may need some more. And now I'm just going to apply that colour to Levi's face. And again, you don't have to be strictly like super tidy with the white. It's okay if it's a bit rough. And I'm going to need some more white. So yeah, as I was saying earlier on, if you weren't here, I have been painting since 2011. When he was 3 months old, I started on maternity leave. I was a journalist at the time, and I thought I'd like to do something at the markets. And I thought, what can I do at the markets that doesn't cost me a lot to set up, and that that I could potentially make some pretty good money from. And I looked around, and there was no face paint at my local markets, and so I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a go. So I bought myself a little kit from Tag, and I watched a lot of YouTube, and I started. Here we are. He's looking white as a ghost, but don't worry, we'll fix that. And so I started face painting, and I couldn't stop. And I went to a workshop in Sydney with Beckstar Anthony. If anyone has been around for a while, you might remember her. And that was fantastic. I was able to pick up lots of different tips and techniques from that you can't quite pick up from YouTube. And what I thought at the time was it's really expensive to go to attend a workshop. Close your eyes for me. And so with the Joker, by the way, it's kind of like pointed up here. It's kind of a bit rough. So I'm using the back of the sponge over here, a bit down here. And so I thought I would love there to be an online community, learning training program. And there wasn't really anything around at the time. There was a face paint forum that I used to go on a lot, but it wasn't quite a training thing. It was pretty hard to find. To go to live workshops is expensive. So here we go. We're just doing a bit of a thing. Let's have a look here. So again, lean in a bit. So it looks like a nice panda bear now, but it's okay. It's meant to be rough. This is fine. And whoops, I've got some on your nose. Oh well. So let me see if I can clean that off. Might just take that off. So yeah, so it took me a while. I started Face Paint Shop Australia and got busy, but I don't know if I'm making that better or worse. See, sometimes when you try to make things better, they invariably get worse. Just trying to pick up some white here. And very good. Okay. And yeah, so I wanted to do an online training program and the technology wasn't there, but it is now, and I'm really happy that Face Paint Club is, we've got so many students in there. We've had about 2,500 students pass through the crash course for beginners, which is amazing. And that's within Australia. So what we're doing is taking it worldwide. We're also up-leveling it for people to give them the people who are past that beginner stage and who need that extra help to, because a lot of times I find people aren't confident to get out there and start painting. And it's because I want to give them that encouragement and also the tips and tricks that you kind of don't know unless you learn from somebody that's already been there and done that. So that's really the ethos behind Face Paint Club. Anyway, so I've got now red paint, but I don't want to make this this is quite a bright red. And what I want to do is add a touch of black to it to deepen it up a little bit. Right, so a bit of red, bit of black. So we want a kind of a deeper red, okay? And the Joker, if you recall, this is the Heath Ledger style, is kind of like pretty, he's not too keen on me painting his lips, but he's kindly agreed. Here we go. Let's see. Nice red lipstick. And we'll take it out beyond. It's kind of like a pretty messy. It brings it to life straight away. And just out to the sides. You look suddenly really very happy. I don't know what it is about that smile, but boy, do you look happy. So this is a really cool one, and it's quite quick. If I hadn't been talking, this is something you can do in just a few minutes. Yeah, cool. And I like to then grab a bit. I've just got a filbert brush here, the small size 8 filbert, and just picked up a little bit of paint, and I'm just going to bring it up and down just a tad, because we really don't want a neat design. We want it quite rough. You could leave it there. It's, it really is quite a simple design. Or you could take that filbert brush and pick up a bit of white. And it's not very wet. It's quite a dry bit of black. So what we're trying to do here is do a bit of grey. We want to get some wrinkles in. So it's almost a dry brush. Can you wrinkle up your forehead, like raise your eyebrows a bit? You might find some natural wrinkle lines there, or you might not. You okay?
You're going to paint my eyeball.
I'm going to paint your eyeball. I don't think so. But you look, this is a really fun design that pretty much anyone can do at home. It doesn't have to be neat. It doesn't have to be tidy. It just has to be, fast and fun. So those lines are a bit dark. I'm going to grab a little bit more white paint here. and lighten them up a bit, because we don't really want them too dark. But there we go. So I reckon. What do you reckon, Levi?
Oh, no, sure, I guess.
So look, that's just a really quick design, and you know, it's quite frightening, really. But that's what Halloween is all about. Sometimes having a bit of fun and going, oh, you know what I want to do? I forgot. Don't go, because there's one more thing I want to show you, and that is you can use face paint in hair. So if you recall, the Joker has green hair. So this will force you to wash your hair tonight, huh?
Sure.
I don't know about you, but teenage boys, sometimes it's hard to get them to wash their hair. I'm just picking up the green here and painting it on. So I might need some more water. And don't forget, if you've got any questions, pop them in the comments. We are taking questions after this one. And if you can just bend over a bit, Levi, so look at that. See, really, if you don't have any hairspray, in fact, you don't need hairspray. Just grab this. Now, we could do the whole of his head, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to turn your head slightly this way. There we go. All right. Look. What do you reckon?
Sure.
All right. Thank you very much for watching that one. I am going to swing off this camera now and come back into, let's see here. That's the other camera, and I'll remove that one. Okay, cool. Or have I removed the wrong one? No, that's good. There we go. All right. I hope you're still with me. I see we've got some questions. I'm just going to pop into the comments here and have a look and see if there's any questions we can answer. Oh, Yoko, hello. Hang on. The questions are moving very quickly. Hello to Yoko. And Yoko, were you at our workshop last week? I feel like it might be questions. Let's see. Yoko. Okay, Yoko's question is, you want to hang around or you want to stay?
I don't know, stay for a minute.
Okay, cool. And after using the paints, is it better not to close the lid until the paints are dry, completely dry? How long should I leave the lid open until the paint is dry? Okay, well, it kind of depends on, in my opinion, the weather. Like if it's a really hot day, your paints are going to dry out faster. I don't like to put, like this paint here is still quite wet. I wouldn't put the lid back on that now. I'd let it kind of dry out. Your paints really can't get too dry because you can reactivate them. But if you put a lid on a wet paint, then it's not going to be able to dry out properly. And then it can start, affecting the paint over the long term. Likewise, if you're adding too much water. So with these guys here, I don't know if I can. So with these, they come with these little plastic lids. I don't keep those. I just, close them up like that. And then that will allow them to air out a bit. So personally, I leave the lids off for a little while until they're sort of dry to touch. Now, if you've been painting for several hours, when you're at a busy gig, then you're going to find the paints take longer to dry, I suppose. But if you've only done a couple of paints, it shouldn't be, it should dry quite quickly. It's a rather long answer, but I hope that helps. If it doesn't, let me know. Let me see if I can add the others back to the stage too, because I feel lonely while I'm like, hey there, Ella. Okay, so what about you? Do you put your lids back on straight away? Ratty, your microphone is on. No, leave them off for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay, someone has a question and wants to know, how do they know if they've got enough paint on the brush? It depends on what kind of, like for one stroke personally, I don't have my flat brush here. I will load the brush up to halfway. Can you get me a brush over there, Levi, a flat one? So I kind of load the brush up pretty well because I don't want to keep reloading it. So for example, I would load it, I sort of aiming to half to 3/4 when I'm loading a one stroke brush. And by one stroke, I one of those. And yeah, so I might like spend a good, I don't know why, but I count to 17 back and forth. Loading when it's wet until I'm sort of happy. And then sometimes it's not enough and you've got to go back for more. So it's kind of something you learn as you go. Thank you. And so for a pedal brush or for a round brush, I kind of almost load them up to the ferrule, sometimes a bit more, which is it can be a bit awkward. But yeah, I load them pretty well. What about you, Lorna? Do you have any sort of tips when it comes to loading the brush? Hang on. Your mic's muted.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, not now.
I was going to say. Yeah, so it's an experience thing. You'll get to know how much you like it loaded. But it does depend upon which design you're doing as well, because the more paint you put on your brush, obviously, if you're not going to use it all, then you're going to waste it in your water when you're washing out your brush. So if I'm only going to do a small design, I know I'm not going to need to load it as well as if I was going to do a big full face design with a one stroke. But yeah, probably about, I don't even know. Yeah, it's a matter of getting the right consistency and letting it glide over the paint, as opposed to actually measuring how far down the brush is.
It's
for me.
It's a trial and error. You just got to, and even still after 10, 12 years, you can still not get it quite right. And
yeah, absolutely.
So, and if it's too wet, that's why I have this towel down here, and I will just dab my brush on the towel to soak up any excess. If I muddy up the surface of the one stroke because it's too wet, I'll just take a wipe and clean it off. So yeah, there's ways around if it's too wet. And if it's, go ahead.
Sorry, I don't ever load it probably as much as you, Kate. I don't think I load it as much as you. I like to keep mine within the first maybe quarter of the brush of my thingy. I'd rather reload than wash it all off in the thingy if I'm not going to use it all.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Personal preference. It's
Yeah, and that's the thing. It is definitely a personal thing. It's definitely a thing that you can only learn. We can tell you, but then you can only learn by doing and figuring out what kind of works for you. But know that if it is too wet, you can fix it. If it's too dry, add more. But for me, what I'm aiming for is to get it as much as I can. If I'm painting a face, I want to not reload very often if I can, because that takes time. And I'm all about, because I do a lot of pay per face gigs, I'm all about doing faster. The faster I paint, the more I get paid. Raddy, do you have a thing in your head that when you're loading your brush that you think this is ready now? What are you looking for?
Almost the same like what Lorna is doing. I don't want to go too crazy. For one stroke, I usually it's a bit of practice. You can see, you don't need to load too crazy. If it's not enough, go back again. And yes, after you dip them and you dry them a bit in the towel, dip them and then load it. And then the different thing with the watercolor, I wet the brush a lot more, but not until dripping, but yeah, a lot more. And then
that's right.
Yes, just roll it, and that's
because you're going for a less opaque, a more translucent kind of effect with watercolor. Yeah. So you would need more water. Yeah. So yeah, it all depends of the answer, unfortunately. But I do tend to take some time to load the brushes, and then again after the first couple of times you paint in a day, I find the paints take a lot of loading, and then they kind of start to have a little bit of moisture in them, and they're much quicker to load.
And then towards the end of the day, they've got too much moisture.
Yes, so it's a fine balance, and in the end, it's only something you can do through practice, but not to be scared of it. And if your colours do all bleed together, just wipe them off with a wipe. Yoko has another question. Let's see. How long can I leave face paint on the skin? Okay, so I have been painting at particular gigs, and the next day I've gone to the supermarket and I've seen that child there with the face paint still on. And you look, it can stay on, but it's going to get all over your pillow. That's what I say. But I've heard of kids actually wrapping their arms in glad wrap. Yes, to keep it in the bath and whatever. So look, it can stay on for days if you don't shower, but it's a good idea to leave it on. Probably not, because it's going to, destroy your linen. That's what I would say.
And it's not going to look as good at
all. No, it deteriorates, and you can leave it on for a while, but it doesn't last forever. And as soon as it gets
in terms of skin reactions,
well, I haven't heard of skin reactions because it's been left on too long, but. If you're susceptible to any sort of allergy based on an ingredient in there, then that could only be 5 minutes and you have that reaction. Yeah. So, okay, let me have a look here. Lemonade Labrador, a mostly digital artist. Drew your profile picture, fantastic. I rely on sketches heavily, so my face paints don't look as good. Is there any way to get it to still look nice without the sketch? My opinion is you got to relax and let it go. And if you're trying with drawing, I'm not very good at drawing, so I'm maybe not the person to ask, but it's more precise or more, you're taking time with face painting. You kind of got to be fast when you're painting kids, and you just sort of let the brush do the work. That's what I think. What about you, Lorna? You do a lot more art, and same with you, Raddy.
I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I never like my own work. You're never going to, and I'm my own worst critic. It's a matter of practice and letting it go. I quite like face paint because I need to let it go because the person's going to walk off. So I can work on a canvas for months and still not be finished because it's not happy. But I've got maximum maybe 5 minutes to paint this design on a child and it's going to walk off. So learn to let it go, learn to embrace the imperfections, I guess. And it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be exactly what you have envisioned in your head. You just got to like it for what it is and move on.
Yeah, and sometimes you can think it's pretty good, and then you take a photo, you look afterwards, you go, oh, actually, I didn't realise it wasn't symmetrical.
Yeah. And really, it's opposite. You may think it's absolutely terrible, and the person sitting in the chair absolutely loves it. So embrace and move on.
Yeah, definitely.
It's about
agree.
Yeah, you too. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's hard, but it's not a tattoo. It's temporary. You're doing it for as much as the experience. Often, if you're face painting kids, they enjoy being the centre of your attention. Have a chit chat with them, and don't be too hung up on being perfect, because look, perfect is an illusion in my opinion. And look, very few people can paint perfectly on a moving canvas in a fast amount of time. So cut yourself some slack, I guess.
Sorry, I love clean lines and I love crisp colours and opaque, but when you've got 3-5 minutes to you've got to be fast, you've got to go, okay, well, that's not exactly how I envisioned it, but the person loves it, and I'll do the next one and do it for the smile, not for the perfection. Yeah,
I think that's a great tip. That really lets it go from your ego of it needs to be this because I'm representing myself, to just
I would love to spend 2 hours face painting each person exactly, but it's never going to be exactly what I have envisioned in my head. But yeah,
all the thing you've practiced 20 times beforehand on on yourself or on a sheet or whatever, or a practice head. It's just when you get out there, and especially when you first start, you'll find that. I did anyway. The first few gigs, my hands would shake for the first 3 or 4 kids. So I was like, oh, I don't know why, but no. And then, it was just like, I don't know, such an anxiety about it. But then a couple of kids in and it goes away. So, we've got some more questions. Okay.
Practice helps as well.
How to keep, sorry, Levi has a question.
Am I getting paid by the hour?
Paid by the hour, no.
Or by the hour?
Just by the face paint. Bye-bye. Okay. So let's see. How do I keep the face paint from getting too thick? When I paint my siblings' faces, they always turn out really thick and hard to move with. You're probably painting too much on. So just
the base layer.
The base layer, is that the base layer, Lemonade? Let me know what. Bit more explanation, but really it sounds like you're just applying too much. You really don't need
might be the brand as well. Maybe they don't like the feeling of and they need to move.
I think when you paint with a brush, you tend to paint heavier than when you do with a sponge. I think.
Yeah.
That's what I reckon. Okay. And also, some kids don't like the feeling of face paint on the face. Like a lot of kids love it, but some people don't. And so, and especially for your siblings or kids, they will tend to complain. Okay, so Perva has a new kit. And not sure what split cakes to be used to make. Is there a way that can give me an idea how to use different split cakes? YouTube has a lot of ideas. We've got lots of ideas in Face Paint Club. And
is that those ones or those ones? Which one's a split cake?
Yes, well, split cakes are larger, in my opinion. Well,
The rainbow
split cakes are the larger cakes, and
Yeah.
these are one stroke, but some people call
Yeah.
these split cakes as well. It's a little bit confusing. So I think, let's see, split cakes made. Look, with the split cakes, it's just like going to Instagram, going to Pinterest, going to YouTube, looking for inspiration and how you might do it, or just experimenting. Nothing really beats a good experiment. And to do experiments, I always recommend doing it, on a practice board or your arm or something. I don't recommend experimenting face paint designs on your kids, because you want to keep, if you're doing it in your own kids or siblings, you want to keep it fun. And if they feel like they're part of you're practicing on them, it doesn't tend to be as fun as if you're doing it to spend time with them. That's just my opinion. I reckon practicing is best done on yourself or on a board or something like that. And the actual painting part, I know this is off topic what you asked, but that's just something to. So yeah, I think with that, answering that question, I reckon just go and. Where do you find inspiration, Lorna? When you started, what did you do to find inspo?
When I first started, it was Instagram, Pinterest, places like that. Yeah. And copying their designs. Once you know the basics of a design, like a cat or a tiger, they all have the same sort of layout on the face, and just using that as a basis of what works for me, what strokes I find natural. And as you practice, as you do each paint, your style will evolve and it will then become your design, because you'll tweak it and change it to make it yours. But yeah.
You start having favourite colour combinations too.
Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
a very personal thing.
Yeah.
Or the kids will be, they'll see something in your kit and they'll ask for it, and you'll still learn what's kind of popular. And what about you, Lottie? Where did you start? Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, when I first started, I bought pretty much every rainbow split cake, one stroke, stencil, everything because I thought that's what I needed. You don't. You just start with the basics and then learn what you use and grow on that. I have so much stuff that I've never used because I don't like it. So it's sad. I thought I needed it, and I was taking it to gigs and bring it home again unused because I don't naturally want to use those colours, so I don't gravitate towards it.
It has to be something that you love personally, otherwise you're not going to pick it, and you'll find after a while that there's some colours that in your kit that wear down really quickly because you're using them fairly often, and there's others that you haven't touched for 12 months just because
you'll naturally grab the same sort of colours over and over again.
That's true. And what about you, Ruddy? Where did you go to find inspo at the start?
Well, I saw like 6-7 years ago, I saw on YouTube there's a tutorial. I think the artist's name is Sophie, but I couldn't find it anymore now. So I looked at how she yeah, so I learned from her a bit, but it was so hard again. And then I stopped for about 6 months, and then I said, I already bought the paint and it sits there. I have to do something. So I went on Facebook, and then I saw one of the other face paint group, and I joined in and practice every day. That's how I start.
Actually, why I started the markets, I was telling that story before. I actually started with balloon twisting, and then I was watching YouTube learning how to balloon twist, and I came across a Lisa Joy Young video. If you've been on YouTube looking at Facebook,
oh, Lisa Joy Young,
she was
she's pretty good
from years ago, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting, and so. It can all stem from something quite random. A lot of people start kind of randomly like that. But so there's plenty of places for inspiration, and we're very lucky to live in this social media age when there is so much out there. And just, be about, but take from bits and pieces from what you like, experiment, and just keep evolving. And one of the things I do love about face painting is it does keep evolving. Like what, you can... Each time you paint it, you get heaps of chance to paint and practice, and you can try something different each time. I'll tweak that ear there, or I'll tweak those whiskers. I'll try something else. So it's a constant evolution, which is really good. And we all learn from each other too. So that's brilliant.
Definitely.
Okay, I don't see any other questions there. I thought I might just have a quick question here about what are the most requested designs. Off the top of your head, Ratty, what do you think are your 5 most requested designs?
Is it for Halloween or for general?
Or just general?
Oh, just general. Unicorn, Spider-Man, a dragon, T-Rex, and butterfly. Yes, that's the most.
And
preferred.
Lorna?
My top 5.
Yeah, that you think, just off the top.
Butterfly, tiger, unicorn, Spider-Man, dinosaur, maybe?
Yeah, I'm no good at dinosaurs, so I don't have them on my menu. But of course, sometimes it would depend what's on your menu. But for me, it would be rainbows and flowers all the time. Butterflies, Spider-Man. I don't get asked for Batman that often, even though he's on my menu. Yeah. Kids who like superheroes tend to always go for Spider-Man. What else up to? Unicorns and dolphins. I think I paint a fair few dolphins, but I live in a coastal area, so that's quite popular. So let's see what else I've got here. I think I've got one more question and we'll wrap it up to the day. What are the options for practicing if you don't have kids or your kids won't let you practice on them? Ratty, what do you do for practicing?
My arm or my leg, usually, or my own face, but these days I don't use it because I don't do it anymore because it's hard with the glasses on. But mostly arm and leg.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Lorna, what about you?
My arm, or the practice board, or school holidays is coming up. So what I'll do is I'll allow my kids to bring a couple of friends over. And as part of that, I'll ask their parents whether I can paint them. So they'll get a free face paint. Excuse my dog in the background.
Your dog is so cute.
So I'll paint them as practice. Or my partner's back. I used to, and not so much anymore. When I first started, he used to lay on the couch, and I used to practice on his back.
That's right. The kids might even let you do that as well. Sit in front of the TV with their back to you, and you can paint them. It's harder if they're playing games because they're going to be moving around a lot. Arms, legs, own face until you can't. Your eyes.
I used to practice. Sorry, Kate. I used to practice all the time on my kids, and they're completely over it now. But they'll occasionally let me use their arm now, so they don't really like anything on their faces because they know they have to wash off. It's not the getting painted bit, it's the washing it off bit they don't like. And it's not hard to wash off, it's just they don't want to wash their faces.
No, it's hard enough to get my kids to have a shower, but anyway, that's another story.
Mom's life.
So that's the one time I'm allowed to paint my son. So without bribing.
Well, I was hoping so too, but this year apparently anyway, we'll see. I've asked, can I paint you? And they're like, no.
Well, not yet. It's a yes, so I'm keeping him to it.
That's good. Well, it's been lovely to see you all today. Our hour is already up. It has been fantastic to see your cute and your spooky and fun designs. It's great that everyone was able to join us. And if you're watching the replay, please, pop a note in the comments and let them know. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up. It's been great to see you. And maybe we'll even see you in the Face Paint Club. There's a link in the comments on YouTube. And we will catch you next time. We've got part 2 of our Halloween workshop masterclass. That will be the 4th Thursday of October, which is a couple of days before Halloween. It gets really busy at Face Paint Shop Australia around now. Really busy for face painters.
Yeah.
It's peak season, and then you guys got lots of bookings coming up, I imagine.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
From now till Christmas.
Crazy. Yeah. Oh yeah. I got one until May next year.
Wow. Oh wow.
Yes. Oh my God, I haven't had the calendar yet.
Well, it's good. Yeah. It's good to be busy, and it's great to see you both. So we're going to say goodbye to everyone live now, and thanks for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.